Welcome back to the SuperCoach previews. As you know, today is Richmond. I hope you are doing very well. If you haven't subscribed yet, would really appreciate it if you did so. Trying to hit 500 before Melbourne play the Bulldogs in the middle of March, round one. Can't wait for that. Richmond are an interesting team because when they were, so good and so dominant from 2017 to 2020, they didn't really have a lot of SuperCoach relevant players, and I still feel like that is the case. So this is probably going to be one of the shortest, and as much as I'm going to stick to my structure, there are going to be a lot of I don't really care style of players. So to Richmond fans who think I'm not giving you the greatest dissection, I mean, look, I do apologise, but at the end of the day, you don't have a lot of players worth talking about in the SuperCoach style, even though I think you're almost the dark horse to win the flag. I think you're going to rebound and do very, very well. But as far as SuperCoach goes, you just got to be honest in this business. And to be honest, you haven't got that many to talk about. So let's start with the defense. And Jayden Clark actually is the best pick. And I love him as a pot option with no Bashahuli there anymore. He's going to be the one that's taking kickouts. He is going to be the one meters gain specialist out of the back half, especially with guys like Liam Baker, who got moved forward, and you got a Daniel Rioli, who I don't trust enough to take kickouts anyway. He's going to be that guy. Now, I'm not saying he's going to churn out Jake Lloyd-style numbers, but I do think he might finish as a top 6 or even 8 best defender in the league. I think Richmond are going to have to rely on him a lot like they did in 2020 magnificently, where he won the best and fairest. And the more I'm talking now, the more I'm talking myself into picking him. We love a forward that's transitioned to defence. Look at Jack Zeeble last season, for example, and Nick Hind. Is it Daniel Rioli's turn? Hard to say, but he did look comfortable at halfback, and you need to look comfortable in your spot before you can explode and become a very good player in that spot. Now, at fully fit, does he play on a halfback flank? I'm not sure. The problem that you've got with having Rioli in your team is if he's not on a halfback flank, he doesn't have another best position, and if you're thinking he's a small forward, if he was good enough to be a small forward, they wouldn't have sent him back in the first place. So if you have Daniel Rioli in your team right now, you are betting on the fact that from round 1 to about round 8, round 10, round 12, that he is going to be on a halfback flank earning you coin. Can you do that? I'm not sure yet. That's why he's on the watch list. There's actually just 2 rookies that I want to look at as potential options here. The first one being Sam Banks, the Tassie Devil boy, who those at Talking Hawks, which I'm also associated with, interviewed. If you want to check that out, that would be fantastic. Link is in the description. It's not a Hawthorn-centric chat, so if you are a Richmond fan, go and check it out. He was able to give us an interview, and that was absolutely fantastic. He is that sort of general defender, can take a good mark, and the fact that he was in Tassie and still got to play some good footy last year is probably the more likely rookie to come in. He's a good user of the footy. He's got really good size and high footy IQ. From the reports of the Talking Hawks boys that did interview him, fantastic kid as well, which is always a tick in our book. So he is one to definitely keep an eye on as a cash cow or watch list style option. And the other one is Josh Gibson, a man that I'm a very big fan of. It would have to take an injury to a Grimes or to a Tarrant in order for him to get that spot. But injuries do happen in footy. I don't think he's going to be a guy to play round 1, but I definitely think he's going to be a guy to keep an eye on as the season goes, especially if the older Robbie Tarrant or a getting older Dylan Grimes do an old man injury. He might be able to slot in for a month or so and earn us some coin, but definitely one to keep an eye on. Let's get to the midfield, and I know that he's a forward mid, but Dusty is the only real midfield option worth considering, and if you do have Dusty in your team, it's probably going to be in the forward line. He slimmed down, recovered from his injury really, really well, and now that he's hit his 30s, I think he knows that the premiership window is running out, and this could either be a sign that Richmond aren't going to go places, in this sort of crop, so the next 3 or 4 years, or he might put in, not his 2017 level style of game, but one of the best seasons of his career to drag Richmond to another premiership, which really, really would put him, if he's not there already, in one of the better players of the 21st century conversation. I think we need to see it more than we need to gamble on it. He is one of the better round 1 scorers of all time, and that is because he plays Carlton, and I'm not saying that to have a dig at Carlton, but you haven't found a way to stop this man, and you get more time than anyone else because you've got a preseason to do it. But he always churns out big scores, so watch him get 130 in round 1, everyone will jump on him, and then from there, who knows where they go. But a really interesting case study this year is Dusty, probably more so than any other year of his career, which I can't wait to see. I don't have anyone on my watch list, and everyone else is a no chance. So I'm not even going to waste your time or time in this video by talking about those. Let's get to Tyler Sonsie as a cash cow. Hawthorn passed on him after him being at Box Hill for a little bit, and he played really well at Box Hill, so why didn't Sam Mitchell want him? Is the question that Richmond fans really need to be asking themselves. He could still be a steal. Sam Mitchell still could have got it wrong. That's as a Hawthorn fan, I need to acknowledge that Sam could have gotten it wrong. But this kid was under their nose for a long time, and if Sam Mitchell's got the footy brain that the experts want to tell us that he's got, and he's so clearly shown throughout even his playing career, there is a reason why he didn't go there. Now, can Richmond turn it around? Of course they can. You back in your culture and your development to get these young players up. But I wouldn't suspect Sonsie would be playing early, but we're always looking for cash cow options later on in the year. And if Richmond are sort of swan diving or it's not going their way, they could be getting their picks from last year's draft into the side early. And that's where you could get Sonsie around the bye. But if he plays in a round before 10, Richmond have had some horrific injuries. Nank the Tank is only draft relevant if we're being honest. No one's going to start him in Classic. He's sort of your 85 to 95 kind of guy. Kind of a nugget in draft, but no one's going near him in Classic, and rightly so. Even though we should get Ivan Soldo back, and that will help relieve and maybe send him forward a touch more. I don't see him getting to that 110 premium status, so no one's really going to start him. Few forwards to talk about though. Let's start with Sheeva Bolton, who absolutely burned me when I got him last year. But you can't deny that the X factor and the class that he can bring, if it's on a more consistent basis, will translate into being a good Supercoach scorer. Now, again, I'm not going to start him, and I'll bet you he'll churn out 120 in round 1 and get a lot of people on side. I am going to need some consistency before we start going, okay, Supercoach relevant, especially because we've got the new DPP rules, and you could be getting guys like Bontempelli and Fife. There's going to be a really tight squeeze for these forward spots, so you're really going to have to stand out. Can he do it? Not sure, but a best pick? Absolutely. And Jayden Clark is the player that I want to talk about for the cash cow option. This kid is ultra clever, just footy IQ through the roof and a really good tank. Can work his way up the ground, crafty around the goals. I don't think he's going to produce, 100s, 110s as a rookie, but for a guy that can take one of those forward pocket spots, which seem to always be on offer at Richmond. No one's really been able to tie them down. Look at the fact that they've traded down Butler in the past. Look at the fact that Jason Castagna has been dropped in the past. Look at the fact Jake Arts has been dropped in the past, and no one's really solidified themselves as the forward pocket player at the Tigers. There's no reason why that can't be Judson if he really can impress and keep that spot for a bit and earn us money. Probably a guy you're looking at more during the year than at the start of the year. But hey, we all love a cash cow. He's a guy to consider. So there you go. For Daz's final word, kind of a boring Daz's final word here because I don't have any Richmond players in my team at the moment and I don't really see that changing. Jaden Short is going to be one that if he churns out a good score in that Marsh Community Series game, he's definitely going to be one to consider for absolute sure. Really good draft prospect, Jaden Shaw. I think he's going to be a slider in draft, and he'd be fantastic. But from there, Dusty, again, another one that I'm going to have to see probably the first month of him taking the piss, and then work out a way to get him into the side, hopefully, as quickly as possible. But other than that, that's Richmond done and dusted. I hope you enjoyed. I know it's been a short, sharp episode here, preview. But yeah, Richmond aren't really the team that are jumping off the page at me, Supercoach-wise. Do you think Richmond are going to make top 4? Do you think they're going to win the flag? How do you think they're going to go? Comment below, let me know. Let me know who you're starting in your team from the Tigers. Got St Kilda for Friday, and then only 3 more to go. Can't wait for that. Be safe, everyone. Be well. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.